Okay, guys, and we're back. All right. The next episode, episode 21, entitled "Hail Hydra." Okay, and pretty much the concept of this was basically a battle between AIM and Hydra over the cosmic cube. But we also get to basically see that the Widow, Black Widow, requests the Avengers' help to retrieve the cosmic cube from AIM and Hydra, basically before they tear the world apart. Okay, I called it like I said it was. People, Black Widow was a double agent. She was working deep undercover.
That only Fury knew about.
Yeah, that only Fury knew about as a Hydra agent. Okay. The funniest thing to me was when Hulk saw Black Widow. Hey, Hulk remembers you, spy woman, and he literally grabbed her with one hand and was just about to squeeze her to death. And everybody was like, it was funny because Janet even said, "Hulk, crush her," and and he was just literally. I was like, all he needed to do was put a little more pressure, and it would have been done. Widow Natasha explains herself. Nobody's really buying it. None of the team's really buying it. Even Clint, he's not buying it because of what he did to her, what she did to him. But unfortunately, later on, we get to see a power surge go, and that kind of gives
a shot with Hawkeye.
Yeah, and we also get to see the team in the beginning. And I'm sorry to go from beginning to forth, but we see in the beginning of the episode the team is kind of questioning Hawkeye's archery skills. And that is a dumb mistake to do. Don't question this guy. Don't question this guy's, archery skills. They're saying that it's an impossible shot to make because there was a spinning fan blade with an opening that was going really fast and a bullseye in there. And it was like, people's like, he can't make it. It was impossible. While Cap was like, "I've never seen you miss a shot before." Basically. So that was what Tyler was just talking about. We also get to see Baron von Strucker again, leading Hydra into the AIM, basically, headquarters. Because, basically, the Cosmic Cube was actually for Hydra, but MODOK actually was like, forget that. We're going to use it. And the Cosmic Cube looked cool. I'm not going to lie. The design of it looked good. Not bad. MODOK, talking like he's got something stuck up his ass, as always. But it was good. And the Avengers go into action, of course, once again. But lo and behold, they get stopped by S.H.I.E.L.D. Not led by Nick Fury, but led by
Maria Hill.
That's right, Maria Hill.
And she comes off like a bitch as usual.
Yeah, she came off like a bitch. Maria Hill comes down and says, "We don't need your help. You're in my view, you're just vigilantes. Nick Fury may put up with you guys, but I don't.
Typical. She's always on her month.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, and basically, Tony and her get into it like, you need our help and everything like that. And she's like, we don't need your help. And until those, in the opening of the Avengers cartoon, you see those like Hydra robots. They came out of the water and started to attack the helicarrier. And the team springs into action. At first, the team was without Thor and T'Challa until the team started to run from S.H.I.E.L.D. then Thor and T'Challa came into action again. But they helped out them no matter what. And Widow was on the up and up. She was on the up. She was telling the truth. Hydra and AIM were going at it. It was like almost putting a battle of one-sided against another side. You know, you could take any rivalry you can want that has a bitter rivalry and put them together and see what's going to happen. That's what was happening between AIM and Hydra, who wanted this cosmic cube first. And that's where the Avengers had to come in and just really, take that away from them.
It was a lose-lose scenario.
There you go. It was a lose-lose scenario. No matter who took it, it was going to be bad. MODOK took out some Hydra agents and Baron von Strucker real easy. He even said, I was designed for combat, and stuff like that. It was kind of funny. I'm not going to lie about that. His voice is very funny.
Another thing, I'm sorry to cut you off again, Chris, but another thing that we should mention is that Steve, through both these episodes, fights without his shield.
Yeah. Steve fights without his shield in a lot of these scenes. Another thing about this is one of my favorite scenes in this episode is a monologue that Steve gave the Hulk, actually. Steve teams up with the Hulk, and Hulk is like saying, you're only teaming up with me to keep an eye on me, because I'm the monster. And what does Steve say? Stow that crap. Stow that talk. There's a word for people like you back in my day, he said. And Hulk said, yeah, what? Hero. And he says, look, I've been watching you, Hulk. And no matter what people do to you, everything like that, ridicule you, call you monsters, you're a hero. You do the right thing. Now let's go smash some things. And that really put a little bit of, like, Hulk got surprised by that. The look on Hulk's face when Steve said that was like, wow, okay, I'm not a monster, Y'all not just looking at me as the big green monster of the team. You're a member of this team. You're a value member of the team, and we respect you. So I thought that was a key moment in this episode that I had to mention. But lo and behold, we have Hawkeye with his arrow. I think Hawkeye had to have been about 5 blocks away from where AIM and Baron von Strucker were, and Ant-Man gets on. Go ahead.
Ant-Man was on the arrowhead.
Yeah, Ant-Man was on the arrowhead, and then he says, "You sure you can hit that?" And Black Widow say, "He'll hit it." Shoots his arrow, and the arrow goes flying into a window, into an open window where Baron von Strucker is just about to grab the cube, and
yeah, let's see Bullseye make that shot.
Yeah, yeah, and then basically, Ant-Man grows and talks to Baron von Strucker. As always, Baron von Strucker is the Ant-Man is the pacifist of the team, and he's trying to talk, Baron von Strucker down. But there's a time for talk and there's a time for action, and Ant-Man should have known better than do that. But then, his dreadnoughts come, and then basically Ant-Man has to fight them, and he's fighting them until Steve comes in, and then we get a fight between Steve and Baron von Strucker. And I'm going to let Tyler take away what this fight was all about. How did you enjoy this fight?
This was a really good fist fight. I mean, despite von Strucker's age, he was still a dangerous opponent. He even absorbed some of Steve's strength. And he aged Captain America. But Steve, despite being like, he looked like he was about in his 60s now, he was still fighting him, and he even told Strucker, look, I've been fighting you since you were a teenager, and I still beat you.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, lo and behold, after that, both characters, both Steve and Baron von Strucker grab the cube, and a big shockwave happens, and we think nothing happens. And Baron von Strucker's like, I was so close, the typical villain routine. And S.H.I.E.L.D. carries off MODOK and AIM and everybody, and Hydra, and basically Tony says to Maria Hill, basically, well, we saved the world again, we saved the helicarrier, and she's going to thank us. And Maria Hill says, this doesn't change anything. I'm going to take this up to Capitol Hill. I want the Avengers team under S.H.I.E.L.D. I'll get you registered under us.
Keep that in mind, people.
And keep that in mind, what I just said, registered. So we're getting a little tidbit of what might happen in the next season or so. So for anybody that doesn't know, who's not playing Captain Obvious, the Civil War, the Registration Act, basically. And basically from there, we see Clint basically with Natasha, and she's saying, I gotta find Nick. Nick is missing, and they have like a kiss scene together, and she even says to Hawkeye, come with me, because in the comics they were a couple at one point. They had a little fling, but in this they show it even more. But he says, I'm an Avenger now, which is kind of cool. See Clint stick up and say, yeah, I'm an Avenger. At what we see in the couple of other episodes where he's always saying, I don't even know why I'm part of this team. I have to save you guys all the time, or things like that. But he now notices himself as a part of the team. And then that's where we go to the Avengers Mansion. And I almost said the X Mansion, but I caught myself. And they're talking about it. Man, a cube that you could do anything, that can create anything, just be you thinking about it. And then, Tony's basically saying, that's impossible, yada, 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 I don't believe in that. And they asked Steve, Steve, what would you wish for? And he basically says, well, our wish came true. I've been fighting Hydra. We did something that I couldn't even do in my day. We defeated Hydra. Then, lo and behold, people, we see open water, that shockwave, and then we hear echo, Bucky! And who falls out? Bucky. With one arm, missing an arm, people. And I called it. And I'm like, Winter Soldier's coming. Falls in the water. I'm like, opens. And with his eyes open, and what are we getting? We're getting the Winter Soldier. Man, what great tidbits in this episode. I must admit, you got tidbit for the Civil War, tidbit of basically Nick Fury and him knowing about the secret invasion. Okay, the invasion basically coming. Then Winter Soldier. Still so much story they can do with this. This episode was really good. I really enjoyed this episode too. Man, this was really good. I really enjoyed this. What about you, T? How'd you like this episode?
I love this episode, but but you guys are about to know what my favorite out of the three so far was, and that's coming up next.
Yeah. This episode was really good, by the way. So you guys tell us what you thought about this episode. Did you like it? Did you enjoy it? Did you like the cliff notes and the tidbits and things like that? But yeah, we're going to come back with episode 22, and this is probably Tyler's favorite, and this is probably what every Avengers fan was looking for and waiting for a certain character to come in, and we'll be right back with the next part.